Common Sense Radio.
Good morning, you bunch of drunks.
Don't forget to check out the Allman in the Morning newsreel, y'all. I'm actually taping it as I speak right now, doing an experiment, trying to figure out whether or not it's going to work. And I've got the camera rolling on me right now, and I'm going to do the lightning round. And I don't know where the mic is on my computer, but so I put the headphones on my computer. I mean, you know how it's just crazy. But check it out. It's on the web at 971talk.com. And it's on my homepage there, the Allman in the Morning newsreel on YouTubers. That's a crazy day yesterday. And we haven't even, we didn't even get to the fact that that Senator John McCain was so boring he made General Petraeus faint. But you should see McCain's face when Petraeus fainted, and it's right there on Allman's Electric Stove, sponsored by MacArthur's Bakery. We're glad the general is okay, though. You know what I'm saying? Just joking around there. Crazy day. We're going to take all the craziness of yesterday. You already heard about the BP money, and they're going to be putting it into this thing, and the president's going to meet with him and all that garbage. We're not going to use fossil fuels anymore and all that fantasy stuff. Did you see, and Gateway Pundit put it pretty interestingly, he says Obama is giving a major swath of Arizona back to Mexico.
We're not talking about something that's sort of a Tijuana situation right at the border. I mean, we're talking about something that's north of Tucson. I mean, 80 miles away from the border?
Exactly. And we're talking 3 counties deep into the heart of Arizona, where the answer from our government is to put up signs warning our citizens in our sovereign nation that beware of foreigners who are there who are heavily armed. We have squad-sized paramilitary elements that are working deep in our country that are escorting drugs and human illegals. And
so what's happening then is that the president is telling Americans, the federal government, to stay out of 3 southern Arizona counties because they're too dangerous. Now, essentially, what we're doing is then we're ceding parts of Arizona back to Mexico. I think the Gateway Pundit is totally right on that assertion. Then we have Stephen King, a congressman from Iowa, who, and Kelly, he's been disinvited from some event. Is that right? He's been
2 different events.
2 different events?
Fundraising GOP events in Colorado.
Yeah, GOP needs to stay away from him as far as possible. Because anytime you're a congressman, we know that Clyburn and Rangel and all those guys are a bunch of race baiters, but you don't want to be a Republican congressman baiting the race deal. Come on.
Said that white people in America are cowards when it comes to race. And I don't know what the basis of that is, but I'm not a coward when it comes to that, and I'm happy to talk about these things, and I think we should. But the president has demonstrated he's got a default mechanism of him that breaks down the side of race, on the side of it favors the black person.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, at that point, come on. I mean, we've got so many bigger fish to fry, and I'm not even going to take phone calls on this because I really don't like to talk about race a whole lot because it never winds up in a good way. And plus, we've got other issues that we need to tackle, not whether or not the president does this or does that. And I don't even think there's much evidence of that. Speaking of the president, this was crazy too yesterday. Did you hear this?
The plan will be designed by states, local communities, tribes, fishermen, businesses.
And so these are the people that he's saying are going to administer this fund of forced assets from BP to victims. Some of these victims, of course, being victims of the government. But tribes, I've never heard of tribes. Are there tribes down there? Just tell me. I've asked people to call in and say, tell me whether or not there are tribes in Louisiana and that area, and I have yet to find out whether there are any tribes down there. It's kind of a crazy little deal. Also, BP. Did you hear this about their response plan?
Mr. Tillerson, like BP on page 11.6, of your plan, ExxonMobil's Gulf of Mexico oil spill response plan lists walruses under sensitive biological and human resources. As I am sure you know, there aren't any walruses in the Gulf of Mexico, and there have not been for 3 million years.
And the BP and Exxon guys like, yeah, you're right. That was really embarrassing. Sorry. We didn't mean to put where are walruses, by the way? Where do they live? They live in California. Are they in California? Are there walruses out there?
I've seen him at the zoo. That's the only place I know of.
Man, if I saw a walrus in somewhere I was swimming, I'd just have a heart attack. I'm telling you. I mean, walruses are cute when they're behind a cage and everything, but I just saw one. I don't even think are they good to eat? Eat a walrus?
Oh.
I'm serious.
I don't think so.
If
Not
I
unless
was-
you're an Eskimo.
If I were starving, I sure as hell would eat one. That's for sure. Now, that walrus embarrassment, according to Congressman Joseph Chow, is an embarrassment punishable by death. Yeah.
Mr. Stern asked Mr. McKay to resign. Well, in the Asian culture, we do things differently. During the samurai days, we just give you a knife and ask you to commit harakiri.
Yeah. Maybe Congressman Chow needs to be reminded that he's actually not in the Asian culture. He's a U.S. congressman. In the Asian culture, you're in the American culture right now, homeboy. And maybe it's sooner or later you're going to realize that. Ed Schultz. Obama needs to be so much more hardcore. He needs to be.
President, I want to see the boot on the neck of BP tonight. I want to see some finger pointing, whether it's in your personality or not. And it's okay tonight to act kind of like a dictator and call the shots, saying this is the way it's going to be. BP has lied to the citizens of this country.
So he wants the president to be more like a dictator. And I'm thinking to myself, that boot, love for that boot to be straight up of Ed Schultz's big round rear.
Maybe you should just shut up, dick.
Okay, I will. Hey, those Muslim protesters in UK, isn't this charming?
This is a Fox News alert. A group of Muslim protesters disrupting a homecoming parade of soldiers returning from Afghanistan. We showed you some of this unbelievable video earlier. A group called Muslims Against Crusades turned up to greet the parade, waving anti-British posters and shouting at the soldiers. Amy Kellogg is live in our London bureau.
Yeah, we don't need to hear the rest of that report, do we? Well, I'll play it for you straight ahead because the Brits are angry about that. They wouldn't dare try that here, would they? All in the morning, it's Common Sense Radio.
Fox 2 meteorologist Dave Murray, brought to you by Air Comfort.